just as we were talking about the upcoming Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and Z Fold 7, what do you know? A video leak comes out of the new Fold 7, and holy crap, is this thing badass. It's the first time, again, I've mentioned it a few times, first time it actually has me considering getting this device. It's the first time it's actually going to feel like a S24 Ultra. It just folds open into a tablet. So we will jump into the video leak of the Fold 7. So let me tell you what they're doing. So he reviews the Z Fold 7. It's on the right side. He's going to show off the device. He's going to compare it to the Z Fold SE, the Z Fold 6 SE, which was the Z Fold 6 that they should have released worldwide, but they didn't, because it was actually thinner than the Z Fold 6. The SE was only, I think, available in, I want to say 3 markets or 3 countries. Like, it was a very, very limited edition device. Not many people can get their hands on it. In fact, if you go try to buy it online on eBay, it's like $2,500. So it's in high demand. But the Z Fold 6 SE, that special edition, was considerably thinner than the OG, than the original Z Fold 6. But check this out. The Z Fold 7 blows away even the Z Fold 6 SE. You're going to be absolutely amazed. Now, they compare it to the Z Fold 7. They compare it to the Z Fold 7 SE. They compare it to the S25 Ultra. And I think there's another device. I can't remember, but let's check it out. And you can tell right there, doesn't look that much thinner. From some of the graphics that we showed yesterday, it looked really, really thin. But remember, this is folded closed, and you're looking at the hinge side. But just wait. Check this out. Hang on, I want to go back to, check this out. Let's look at this. That's the Z Fold 7 on the right. Z Fold 6 SE on the left. Look at how much thinner it is. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And my favorite feature, my favorite new addition, is the outer display. It's a new aspect ratio, which we mentioned yesterday, 6.5 inch outer display, which is, in my opinion, probably perfect. That Pixel 7 that I have is a 6.5 inch display. Perfect. Now, I think for a phone, 6.7 is perfect, meaning like the S25 Plus or S25 Edge. That's a 6.7 inch display, perfect size. But the 6.5 is perfect for, it's right in between. It's certainly not small display. It's right teetering on the edge of a large display, but it's perfect if you want it for one-hand usability. But my favorite thing about this is now when it's folded closed, the new Z Fold 7, it looks and feels like a regular phone. I could not stand the previous folds, the 6, the Fold 5, the Fold 4. When you hold it in your hand closed, it did not feel like a regular phone. That's what I want. I want a foldable that looks and feels like a regular phone. It just opens up into a tablet, and I think they finally nailed it. Look at that. Looks like, check that out. New Fold 7 on the right, old Z Fold 6 on the left. You see how the Z Fold 6 on the left it's real thick too, the Z Fold 6, but it was too tall and slender and thick. Now, the new Fold 7 on the right is slim. It's actually the same thickness basically as an S25 Ultra, but it has a display of a regular phone. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. There's the SE. Now, with what Samsung did with the SE, the Z Fold 6 SE is a different aspect ratio than the Z Fold 6, which we just saw. Now, it looks like a regular phone when it's folded closed. However, I shouldn't say very thick, but it's still thick. You still feel it still feels like two phones slapped together. Now, remember, I want a regular looking and feeling phone in your hand when closed. However, it opens into a tablet. The Z Fold 6 SE, you could still feel like it was two phones slapped together. The new Z Fold 7 on the right looks and feels just like a regular phone. It just opens up into a tablet. There you get the S25 Ultra on the left. New Z Fold 7 on the right. The Z Fold 7 on the right is a hair thicker than the S25 Ultra. Basically the same. Now here's the weight. You get the weight of the Fold 1, the OG Fold all the way on the left. These are in grams. And then as you get newer, as you go to the right, the weight gets smaller, or the weight reduces more and more and more. And now the new Z Fold 7 is going to be super light, 215 grams. Now there's still a crease. 4.5 millimeters thick. Now look at this. Holy crap. What a difference. So you get the previous Z Fold 6 on the top, brand new Z Fold 7 on the bottom. Look at how much thinner that device is. Absolutely amazing. Let me go back to that last frame. Check that out. Now you can also see how the aspect ratios change. The Z Fold 6 on top, when it's folded open, look how wide it is. Now look at the bottom, the Z Fold 7. Isn't that insane how thin it is? It's basically the same thickness as your USB Type-C port. I mean, that is insane. I'm really impressed. Obviously, we'll need to get... I don't know if I'm going to get it. I want to get it, but I don't think anybody's going to send me any phones. So I'm going to have to be getting these out of pocket. Now, the Nothing Phone 3 is coming out, and you know I'm going to get that. And I would like to get a Flip 7, but Fold 7? I don't know. I'll just leave it at I don't know. If I can find a good deal somewhere, possibly, but it's going to be $2,000 basically. So I'm doing this on my own funds. So we'll see. I'll just leave it at that. That is amazing. So the special edition, which was a 4.9 millimeters thick when unfolded, look how much bigger and thicker that looks than the Fold 7. Absolutely incredible. Still got that crease. S25 Ultra on the left, Fold 7 on the right. Then you get the Fold 6 on the left, Fold 7 on the right. You can tell it's thinner just even looking at it from the hinge. So the Fold 7, 9 millimeters thick when closed, and the S25 Ultra is like 8.6 millimeters when folded closed. So it's basically the same thickness as the S25 Ultra. Damn, that is so thin. That is crazy. Look at that. That's insane. Wow. So, we can expect a thinner phone. Now, one thing we saw from pictures yesterday is that not just the Z Fold 7, you're going to see I believe it's going to be a 12 megapixel sensor. We mentioned that yesterday. They're going to bump it up to 12 megapixels, and it's also. Oh, you're talking about when it's closed on the front, or when it's or when it's open on the inside? Because remember, they're going to actually do a hole punch this year on the inside because it is absolutely so thin. The camera stack that you will typically see from an under display selfie camera is a little bit too thick for their liking. So it's so thin, they're going to have to go with the traditional hole punch when it's unfolded, when it's opened up with that camera inside. But I think that's a good option. And that's personal preference, right? Because actually with the hole punch, you actually get a clearer, cleaner shot, right? Video and picture. Because as I mentioned yesterday, they've fine-tuned the under-display sensors, but you can still kind of tell. It's like a tad bit cloudy with an under-display sensor. It's gotten better over the years, but they still have not perfected it. I want a clear photo, as clear photo and video as I can get. So if that's a hole punch, that's a hole punch. Now, when they perfect it for under display, may take another few years. Okay, then I'll choose that. But I want the clearest photos, videos I can get. So the hole punch this year does not bother me. I believe they're moving to 12 megapixels. That's that's what I've seen. So looks like they're bumping that up to 12 megapixel. The same 12 that's on your S25 series. It's going to be the same sensor. So it should be the same sensor that's on this one. Good question. Now, I was going to say, this is not the only model that's getting thin. Yesterday we saw pictures of the Galaxy Z Flip 7, and that's actually getting thinner. Now, we thought the only design change that we were going to see with the Flip series is the aspect ratio, right? So it's not going to be as tall and slender. It's actually going to have the same aspect ratio as the S25 Plus. So when it's opened up, the Flip, when it's opened up, it'll look and feel just like an S25 Plus. Well, that's getting thinner as well. Now, we don't have the official numbers of just how thin it is, but we saw the Flip 6 and we saw the Flip 6 and the Flip 7 next to each other side by side, and the new Flip 7 is considerably thinner. So it looks like they're going to. There was a news report maybe a month ago, right before the S25 Edge came out, that these executives at Samsung really like the thin look and thin feel of these phones. And they're going to make each model from here on out on their flagship models considerably thinner. Now, that doesn't mean every model is going to be an S25 Edge. Every model is not going to be, under 5 millimeters thick. But I think you'll see a slight reduction in thickness moving forward on each device. Meaning, if the S25 Ultra is 8.6 millimeters thick, I guarantee you on the S26 Ultra, instead of being the same 8.6 millimeters thick, I think you're going to see a 7.6 millimeters thick. See what I'm saying? They'll probably shave a millimeter to a millimeter and a half off of each model moving forward, just because the executives at Samsung really like thin phones. Now, the S25 Edge has not sold well, and we may get in that tomorrow. I just don't have enough time today. But the S25 Edge has not sold well. I'm not really sure why. I think it kind of got a bad rap. I freaking love the one I have. Great battery life, which blows my mind. I did not expect that. And it stays cool. Cannot say the same thing about this. And it's just a really nice and light phone to hold and use. So moving forward, you will see thinner and thinner devices. You're gonna upgrade. Angel says I'm upgrading from a Z Flip 6 to Z. Jesus, I misspoke. Yeah, I said. Anyways, I have a lot of flips and folds and 6 and 7s in my mind. Pardon me. He says I'm upgrading from the Z Fold 6 to Z Fold 7. It's actually worth it in my opinion. I think you are correct. I think this is the. I think this is the first real upgrade, quite honestly. Now, I have not owned a Fold series. I've had every flip Samsung's made. Never purchased a Fold series, but this one legitimately has me wanting to go out and buy one. And I cannot honestly say that for any previous model. I think this is the first generation. I think this is the first upgrade that is really, they're really taking a step forward in changing stuff. Now, I know it's not perfect, right? We all know they could put a bigger battery in there. Trust me, we all want bigger batteries, and they're probably going to do that for the next for the Fold 8, right? And every company does this, right? They always throw like one less upgrade in there, like this. Like sometimes they'll make the necessary upgrades, but hold something back just so they can try to tease you for next year, right? To buy the next phone. But it is what it is. You'll probably see a super thin phone next year with a silicon carbon battery, right? Like we all wished it was in the Samsung devices this year, but it is what it is. Battery life should be better. So if those of y'all that have not used an S25 Edge, and I'm assuming a lot of y'all haven't, because I got a word that read a report that the sales are not doing good, which means not that many people bought it. I purchased it. I got it. I know there's a couple of viewers that got the S25 Edge. And let me tell you about what Samsung is going to do in regards to battery in this Fold 7 and Flip 7. And actually all flagships moving forward. So Samsung implemented a new battery AI algorithm, right? And you're like, okay, so they just wrote some code in the software and it's supposed to magically improve battery life? Yes, that's exactly what they did. And I expect them to implement a silicon carbon battery at some point in the future, but we also got a report 2 weeks ago that Samsung might not put a silicon carbon battery in the S26 or all flagship models next year because this new battery saving algorithm that they implemented in no other phone except the S25 Edge. They did not put it in any other device. They tested it out to the market in the S25 Edge, and that's why you have everybody saying, holy shit, the battery life in the S25 Edge is mind-blowing considering, it's got a 3,900 milliamp hour battery. Nobody expected this. I'm getting almost 9 hours of screen on time. 9 hours of screen on time on my S25 Edge with a 3,900 milliamp hour battery, and I'm a heavy, heavy user. I do everything with my phone. And they're going to implement that same battery algorithm into every flagship phone moving forward for the foreseeable future, starting with the Fold 7 and Flip 7. And you'll see that. I promise you it makes a difference. I promise you it makes. I'm a believer, and I was not a believer at first, right? I was like, battery algorithm, what the hell is that going to do, right? Like, I'm all about the numbers and this and that, but it makes a big difference. I don't know what they did. I tried to do some homework on it, looked into it a little more. Apparently they're just using AI, implementing it into the software, finding little meticulous ways to improve battery life throughout the operating system. It'll turn, even if it has to turn a app's sync off for 10 times an hour and turn it back on. Every little drip of energy it can conserve, it does that. It's amazing. So I think a lot of y'all are going to be surprised. I don't think that's going to be an issue because that will come up. I have seen the online, been on Reddit. I've seen the the criticisms of the upcoming Fold series and the battery. That seems to be the big main topic. I think everybody's going to be surprised with the battery life on the Fold 7 with this new battery saving algorithm that they're going to implement into it. And with the S26 series, everything moving forward. Now, I don't know if they can implement it like in a software update to the regular S25 series. I've reached out to Samsung, to the media relations, and asked them that question because I'm like, well, if it's making this big of a difference, why can't they implement it to older series devices? I don't know if it's chipset specific. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You would expect them to put that in any future update for S25 series, S24 series, and older models. We don't know if they're going to do that or not. But what I do know, and I have seen a executive make a statement, they plan on putting this new battery algorithm in every flagship series moving forward, foldable or Galaxy S. So that's good news. And Angel says, yes, the S25 Edge is amazing. I actually managed to get 8 hours on screen time, a total of 70. I'm telling you, it's people don't believe it until you use it. It's literally it's shocking how good battery life it has for such a small battery. So I think you'll see improvements with the Fold 7 battery over previous years, and that's considering them having the same size. It may be slightly different, maybe slightly bigger battery just by 100 or 200 milliamp hours on the Fold 7 compared to the Fold 6, but they are going to implement this new battery algorithm, and I think it will make a difference. So should be interesting. I think it's a valuable upgrade. I think it's a upgrade that's worth it as well, quite honestly. I think this one's, and it makes you wonder, why didn't Samsung do this? Why didn't they make incremental steps to this point where we're at, or to where we're going to be here with the Fold 7? How come, the Fold hasn't really changed that much in the last few years? Well, I think it's because they got fat and happy because they knew they had, they were selling their Samsung, and they basically, started this foldable thing. Well, Oppo and some of the other companies, Honor, OnePlus with their Fold, with their Open, they caught up, and Samsung, I think, was like, oh shit, caught with the pants down, like, we got to do something. Plus, their sales have kind of been teetering off a little bit for the foldables. So I think they finally got their stuff together, and let's hope they continually throw in the best tech from here on out. So it'll be a good device. I think this one will sell better because this is the first video leak. As we're seeing this stuff come out, everybody's like, whoa, this thing looks badass. And I think that will generate more. I think they'll have better sales with this year foldables than they've had in the past probably 3 years. That's my guess. Because not much has changed. And now even the Flip series is looking badass, right? It gets an all-outer display. It's going to be thinner, better sensors, and I guess it really depends on. Here's the key: how the Exynos 2500 CPU is going to do in the Flip 7. We don't know. And I want to know the one last stat or spec that I want to find out with this Fold 7, and we probably won't know it until the day it's released, is what CPU they're going to put in there. Are they going to put the 8-core Snapdragon 8 Elite like what's in the S25 series? Or are they going to put the 7-core 8 Elite that's in the S25 Edge? I think that combination too, with that battery algorithm in the Edge and the 7-core 8 Elite, I think that's what makes a big difference. I think they're going to put the 7-core just because of how thin it is. But we'll see. Only time will tell. We will see. It doesn't hinder performance, and it really helps the device stay cool, in my opinion.